Hey guys.
Hey, Sarah.
It's recording. Make sure it works before our parents come on. So let's see.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Yes,
I'll rename.
I have one that says just iPhone. I guess that's one of our people, you think? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect.
That's Jenny.
Yeah, that was Jenny. Jenny, you're sideways.
You are sorry. That's a hard way to sit.
You're still
Hi,
sideways.
guys.
Hi. All right, Stacey, I was saying I've got it. It says it's recording, so that's good because I've had a couple of parents message me that they might have to watch the recording. So it's already recording. So I guess that's working. So that's good. So we're gonna.
Jason wants to say hi.
Hi,
everyone.
Hi, Jason. Guy, do you want to say hi? He said no.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Jenny.
guy.
All right, let's see here. All right. So who are we missing? Natalie. We don't have. All right. So at the end, we will open it up to questions. So folks might ask me questions, but they might have classroom specific questions too. So, but I'm going to tell them, that we're going to email them all the information with y'all's contact information. So if they have questions that they just want to wait and ask, not in the group, they may do that as well. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So who are we missing? We're missing Natalie and who?
Heather Miller, is she here?
Heather.
Missing Heather.
I have sweatpants on the bottom and a cute top on.
Me too.
Stacy.
All right, one person, there's Heather, okay. And then just Natalie, I guess.
She said she saw things saying it was waiting for a host.
Okay. We'll see. So I think we have, I counted up. We should have 25-ish, hopefully 25 families that join tonight. So it'll probably just take a few minutes before we really get everybody in here. So if you need to step away for a minute, it's recording, but if you need to do whatever you need to do before it really starts, you're good. I just wanted to make sure we were all on here before other folks started coming. Hey, Heather. So maybe message Natalie and see what's going on, Kelly.
Heather's so happy right now. Heather Miller is very smiley.
Are you frozen or is that like a picture?
Oh, I wonder if she is frozen.
Yeah, I don't know. That looks.
I don't see her. Where is she?
Heather, can you hear us? Ooh, Heather, we can't hear you.
I wouldn't, yes.
I can't hear you. Can you guys all hear me since I'm going to be talking a lot? Does it sound clear coming from me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Heather, I don't know what's going on with you. All right.
Natalie's saying it still says waiting for host. I told her to sign out and try again.
Okay, because I know we've got some people, we've got parents now waiting. I'm not going to let them in yet. We'll see if Natalie gets in. There's Natalie. Okay, it says Annabelle. There she is. Did we lose Heather? There's Heather.
Like, her screen is black on mine.
I see her kitchen in my screen,
Oh, okay.
but I don't see her.
Her screen is black in mine too.
Heather
She just
said
sent a
there's no
text.
button that says audio on. Did y'all get that?
What?
Heather's thing, she just sent a message.
Wait,
It says there's no button that says audio on
I
for
don't,
Heather.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We'll wait a few minutes. We've got just 3 parents so far, but we're just gonna wait till we're all on here and it's sort of working.
Got 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah. Maybe Heather's gonna disconnect and try again. I don't know.
This is where we have to just say a little splurb, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just do like an introduction and do a prayer and stuff, but before we get into much of anything, I'll have you guys just say, you know, who you are, what room you're in, that kind of thing. Just a couple.
Yeah.
What I would normally say if y'all were standing up front. So
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't.
yeah, but at the
Yeah.
end, they may have specific questions for teachers. I don't know. They might be gun shy about asking it in front of everybody. I don't know, but I'm gonna say that they can ask questions if they want of you guys or me.
I'll let Tahina, you got that. Tahina, my group, you answered.
Natalie, can we hear you? Have you tried to talk yet? Is it working?
I unmuted. Can you hear me
Yeah.
better on this one?
Yep, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yay! Okay, it's Annabelle. So it says Annabelle on here, but
I see that. Hi, Annabelle.
hey.
All right, we just need Heather to come back, right? Somebody sent something in the chat already. I don't know. I don't want to be checking the chat. Oh, that was Heather.
That was Heather.
Oh, I thought you meant she texted us. Okay. I don't know. Did anybody text her and see what's going on? I don't want to start without her. I mean, I'm not going to, but
I will right now.
see what she says.
Crickets.
She said,
She just tried a different way.
Jeez. All right. Well, if for some reason Heather doesn't get on, I had asked her to kind of pay attention to who is on here. If y'all can make notes, because I don't want to like obviously waiting for Sarah to let me in. Oh, hold on. Where are you? Yeah, I don't see her. Let's see. Sorry, Heather. Ah, there she is again. Is she coming? Let's see. So I don't want to start until we have 25-ish families, but Heather's going to make notes. But if she texts you to say who's so-and-so, like y'all should know everybody because these are all returning families. So between all of us, we should be able to figure out who's who. But I want to kind of know who doesn't come to this so we can make sure they watch the recording. Can you hear everything, Heather? We can't hear you. I don't know. It just sounds like I don't know. Jenny might have. We can hear you, but it's like a synthesizer, like a.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but it's not clear.
You can't hear me?
Keep talking. Say more than that. Heather, Jenny might have to talk for you. I don't know. We'll try it in introduction, but if we can't hear you, we'll just let Jenny talk for you because your screen is frozen again.
Oh, you can hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Melissa, did I hear you yet? You worked, right? Try that again. I think I heard you at the beginning.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, that's perfect. I think I heard everybody else, so.
Okay.
How about me?
Yeah, I mean, I can, but it's, you know how it is. It's like you're echoing and choppy. I don't think people are going to understand you.
All right, don't ask me any questions, I guess.
Yeah, Jenny will be the baby room spokesperson, but Jenny, you tell who Heather is too, okay? And Heather, you just wave, I guess. Okay, so we have 12 people waiting, so I'm gonna go ahead and admit people, and we want to get to like 25-ish hopefully before we really start. So y'all sort of pay attention and let me know when you think most everybody's here, because y'all will count better than me. Here they come. joining. All right, let's see. Oh. Heather Miller was out again.
Look at that baby. Oh, cutie.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes because I think we have more people that will be joining. So hopefully. Let's see here. I'm not good at it.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. That's better.
I'm on Dawson's computer.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. All right. All right. There's Tiffany. All right, we're gonna give it just a couple minutes, guys. Thank you. It's I don't want to miss anybody that says they are waiting. So it's only 6:02. So hope everybody's okay. Everybody give us a thumbs up, maybe. Ready for preschool? Double thumbs, triple thumbs. All right, let's see here.
Oh, Lord. Hey. Say hey, Grace.
All right, there's somebody else. All right, we're hoping for 25-ish families, so we're just not there yet. So I'm gonna just keep waiting for just a few minutes. This won't take as long as an in-person parent night, so let's just wait a couple more minutes. I love seeing all these kids in the background or on laps and babies I've never seen before. All right. All right. Feel like we need to sing a song. Anybody want to lead us? We have a couple of blank screens, so if you're one of the people that just says iPhone, if you don't want to show your face forever, just let us know who you are so that we know you're here and I won't harass you later for if you need to watch the recording, but there are a couple of screens I can't see. Okay, perfect. All right, yeah, hey Grace, okay. I think a few people, there's Day. All right. All right, need a couple more people coming. I'm afraid once I start talking, if somebody tries to join, I'm not going to notice them. So. All right. Well, it's 5 after, so we're going to start. My eyes are going to dart a little bit because I'm going to keep trying to watch to see if other people are trying to join. So I apologize, but Welcome to our first ever Zoom parent night. I have led this meeting for 5 years, but 10 years before that, I came to this meeting as a parent. So this is my 15th parent night, and I have never done it by Zoom. So we're going to see how it goes. I appreciate you guys all doing it this way, but this is the safest way we can do it. But if you have questions, we're going to have a time for questions at the end, but I think it's probably going to be easier if we just kind of hold questions. So jot things down if you think about it, so we can do that at the end, because I don't multitask well, and I'm afraid if you try to send me a chat and say you have a question or raise your little virtual hand, I'm not going to see any of that. So I apologize. I think just hold stuff until the end, unless it's urgent, and then just unmute yourself and yell at me. That's the only way I'll probably stop talking. So this is going to be interesting. So before we get started, I just want to open in prayer. So join me for a prayer. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for tonight and for the time we're able to spend together, even though we're not together in person. We give thanks for all the teachers here at First Presbyterian, for the work that they do every day, and for the love that they show all of the FPC children. We're especially grateful for all of the little people who are going to be here next week with their laughter and smiles. So please be in this place tonight, wherever we each might be, as we prepare for this new year. All these things we pray in your name. Amen. So I first just want to thank you for your patience, and just thank our preschool board and all of our preschool teachers for all the hard work and dedication that has gone into getting us to this point to be able to open on our delayed schedule. This has been no small task, but we are finally to the point that we're going to open the doors, and we're super duper excited about it. But we appreciate your patience, and things are going to look different than in years past, but different is not always bad. So before we get into specifics, I want to just take a second here at the beginning. Normally the teachers would be standing up front with me and they would introduce themselves and say a few things. So we're going to do that on Zoom tonight. And I'm happy to say that there are no new faces. You know all the faces. So that is always a good thing for me when everybody comes back. So you know the faces, but you may not really know the teacher if you haven't had a child in there yet. So we're going to start with the babies, and they're just going to introduce themselves before we get into the specifics of the handbook and the things that are going to be different this year. So we're going to start with the babies.
Okay, I'm Jenny Hines, for those of you who don't know me, and I guess this is my 11th year at First Pres, 8th year in the baby room. I don't know. Anyway, but in the baby room with Heather, so strong team, and we're excited and look forward to, we've got a lot of new babies and we've never met before or seen, or so we're super excited, looking forward to it.
Hi, I'm Heather Miller. I've been in the baby room.
You sound weird. So maybe don't say
what?
You sound weird, so don't say much.
Hi, I'm Heather. Can you hear me?
That's better.
No?
Yeah.
This is my 5th year in the baby room. I was in the four-year-old room for 4 years before Kelly, and I'm happy to be back at in the baby room with Miss Jenny. It's gonna be a good year.
Woo!
Hey, I'm Kim Holbrook, and I am in the toddler room this year. This is my 9th year, and we are very excited to get started. Can't wait to meet you guys and see. Well, I know all you guys. Can't wait to see all you guys.
Hi, I'm Amy Pitts, and this is my 10th year in the toddler room. We're excited to see everyone. We've missed you, and we look forward to a great year.
Hi, it's Miss Jenny. I am in the 2-year-old room, and this is my 6th year at First Pres, and we are super excited to be back. It's been a really long summer, something we didn't expect, but we're looking forward to seeing everybody. We miss you.
Melissa, you're muted still. Melissa, we can't hear you.
Okay, now can you hear me? I thought I hit it. Okay, I'm Melissa Serbaugh, and this is also my 6th year in the 2-year-old room, and I am so excited to have everybody back next week. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year.
Hello guys, I'm Miss Tahina. I've been working there for 14 years now, so I'm very excited to come back, and I'm very excited to see you. And I have Stacy as my partner, so you know it's gonna be great.
There we go. Sorry. I'm Miss Stacy, and as Miss Tahina said, we have a lot of fun. We're excited to see all of our kids in our class. I have been with First Pres. I was there for a couple years in the baby room several years ago, and then I came back last year, and I'm in the 3s, and can't wait for this year to start. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Wait a minute. Where's
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Prendergast. I am in the 4s, and this is my 6th year. I'm really excited. I've missed everybody. It's been a long, long break. We're ready. Our room is ready. We have an awesome time, and Natalie and I, we make a mess, and we have a lot of fun. I can't wait to see everybody on Monday.
I'm Natalie Von Allman. This is maybe my 5th class, but I've been there for 4.5 years, I think, right? 5th class. Anyway, I love doing crafts. I'm excited to get back to it, and Kelly and I are gonna have a great year with your kids.
All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. All right, so normally what we would do tonight is you would have your packet in your hand and we would go through the handbook. Obviously, you have nothing in your hands other than babies and phones and whatever you happen to have at home, but I'm still going to kind of go through the handbook. All of you guys have been here before, so I'm not going to harp on the things that you already know, but there are changes to the handbook that we need to talk about, just logistical things. But there are a few things that are important. I mean, it's all important, but for 6 o'clock when you've got a baby in your lap, we're going to keep it as brief as we can. So there are a few things that you should know, but I just like to emphasize anyway. But for the most part, we're going to talk about things that are different. So just to start out, it's been over 6 months, which is kind of crazy. It's been over 6 months since we were last here together, but you guys know why we're here. Our mission here at First Pres is to provide a loving and a nurturing educational experience of the highest quality, inspiring your children in the name of Jesus Christ. And we do that in a lot of ways. We're teaching your children, we're helping them prepare eventually for kindergarten, but more importantly, we are loving them and instilling in them an early love of learning. So we believe here, our curriculum is the same as it's been for years. We believe here that children learn by interacting with their environment and by playing. They are children, and you will hear lots of things from all kinds of sources that tell you all these things that your child needs to do before kindergarten or you're falling behind. Your child is going to always be ready for kindergarten coming through a preschool program. If they are playing and having fun and interacting with their friends and playing games and doing all this important things that they do as kids, that's what prepares them for the world. So we are not a worksheet place. You know that. We learn a lot of stuff, but we don't learn it by sitting at a desk with a pencil. They've got a lot of years of that ahead of them. So I just wanted to start out with that. And you know that we do a lot of enrichment things. And this year, I know I sent out a lot of information that you may or might not have read. So some of this, hopefully you already are aware of. You should have already seen it, but some things have changed a little bit since my last email, but I'm just going to go through kind of everything that's different. But we have a lot of enrichment stuff here that I love that helps set us apart from other programs. But this first semester, we are not going to have outside folks in our program. And that's the same thing that all of the programs right here in Hickory are doing. We're keeping all of our outside enrichment folks out just to keep everybody healthy and safe. We want just the kids and the teachers in the building. So those things are not gone. They are just on hold. It's, Stretch and Grow, the Storyteller. We have a lady that comes from the library and reads to us. We do the Science Center, the Art Museum. all those fun things we do. They will be back, but just right now we're kind of on hold for those things. In terms of family involvement in our handbook, I always stress on this night that we love families, because we do, and we want you in the building. We want you coming in and out. We love the bustling activity in the halls, that drop off and pick up, because that's so much a big part of this. But this year it's not going to be like that. We can't have the open door policy that we've had in the past. And so we're going to talk specifically about how drop off and pick up are going to happen. But I just want to say we love you, even though we're not going to let you in the hall right away. So it's just going to look a little bit different. In fall conferences, you know, we do conferences a lot, fall and spring, because these teachers are constantly with your kids and evaluating them and doing developmental checklists. But conferences that we're going to do for the fall will likely be done exactly the way we're doing this. It will likely be a Zoom conference, or maybe just a FaceTime call with the teacher, so that you can check in on that kind of thing. So we're going to have to just communicate a little bit differently this year. I want to also emphasize, before we get into all the changes, that we are still supported by the early childhood support team. We have nurses and we have educational specialists that are at our fingertips that help us. They've helped us a lot just in this reopening phase on things we need to do differently to keep everybody safe. But we've got nurses on hand. We've got educational specialists that we can reach out to anytime we have questions. If you have a question about your child's development or anything that you just might not be necessarily concerned about, but just something that you might want to ask a question about, reach out to us, because we have resources at our fingertips, that experts that can come in and help with those things. So I don't always like to emphasize that at parent night, to not forget that we've got those resources, and they're our resources, so that means they're yours, and it's free. So if you've got a question about something, just ask. If I don't know the answer, we can find somebody that does. So tuition is going to be the same. I'm going through the boring stuff first. So tuition's the same as we've always done. You're going to get a packet of parent night stuff that is going to come home to you. We're going to do tuition the same way with the tuition envelopes. A lot of you started paying in the last year, I guess, with Venmo. So that's an option to do Venmo payment, but you can still pay cash or check. We're going to do tuition the same way we have done it in the past, with tuition envelopes going home at the beginning of the month, and tuition needs to be paid by the 10th. And then we have the late fee if you can't pay if you pay after the 10th. But that's just to keep it easy for our bookkeeper, so we don't have money coming in all throughout the month. So that's going to kind of look the same. But tuition rates didn't change. The tuition's just the same as it's been for the last several years. So when you got your confirmation letter about your days your child would attend, it said the tuition price in there, but nothing has changed on that. So and the calendar is in the handbook, which you'll be getting all of the hard copies of this. But the calendar is the same as we've done in years past. We follow Hickory Public Schools. Let me admit somebody, excuse me. We follow the Hickory Public Schools calendar, with the exception of the start date and the end date. We start Monday, hallelujah. So Monday the 28th is our first day. But our Christmas break, our Thanksgiving break, teacher work days, all of that stuff aligns with Hickory Public Schools. So that calendar is in your handbook, and it will be, I'll email everybody a copy too, and I'll send it home on cardstock so you can have your little refrigerator one as well. But we're doing the same thing we've done for the past 2 years in terms of makeup days. If we end up having a lot of bad weather, which I hope we don't, I'm hearing we might have a mild winter. But if Hickory Public Schools end up making up snow days with a regularly scheduled teacher work day, we will do the same. We will also make up those days if it's a regularly scheduled work day. We won't take away from Christmas break and that kind of thing, but the dates are listed in the handbook that show what the possible makeup days would be. So that's going to be the same too. So that's a lot of sameness. So something that's going to be different this year is definitely our arrival and our departure. So preschool starts at 9, like always. We can't open before 9 because we're a half-day program. We can't be open more than 4 hours. So if we open before 9, that means we close before 1. So we open at 9, like always. But we're not going to have parents or drop off, whoever the grandparents, parent, whoever's dropping off and picking up. You're not going to come into the preschool this year. So what it's going to look like, babies, toddlers, and 2-year-olds. Everybody that is housed on the left side of our hall, you are going to use the exterior preschool door that we have always used, that is right there at the covered entrance to the church. And what you're going to do is You're going to just have to stand in line there and wait your turn. I'm going to be stationed at that door. So again, this is for the babies, the toddlers, and the twos. And I will be at that door, and we will have it marked so that folks can stand in line 6 feet apart. Well, I'm not sure how we're going to mark it yet, but it will be marked and designated. And we are requiring that parents or whoever the drop-off folks are be wearing a face covering during drop-off. So we'll be aligned just like you've been going. I'm sure you've been to a doctor's office or somewhere at this during all of this where you have to have your temperature taken. So we'll do a forehead temperature check. We'll record the temperature and we'll ask you the screening questions. And once the child is cleared to go into the preschool, I will have one of the baby room, toddler room, or 2-year-old teachers. They will know what child is there, and they will come down the hall to either walk the child in, or if it's a baby that needs to be carried in, then we will carry the child in, or if it's just someone that can walk but is not willing to enter the preschool hall, we are happy to scoop up happy children, sad children, mad children, whoever is coming in the door, we will scoop them up and we will get them to their room. And I know we always talk at this parent night that drop and go is best. And so, because we don't, like the more you linger, the more tears there are. So just think of this as a very abrupt drop and go. So you don't even have the guilt of, oh gosh, I don't want to leave yet, they're crying, because you're not going to have that chance. We're going to scoop them away from you. Hopefully not. Hopefully they walk in happily. But if not, we will scoop them away from you and we will get them to their room. And the same as always, we are not going to let your child be sad, like genuinely sad for any length of time. Normally what happens in our normal world when you drop off, the tears are flowing as long as you're standing there and saying how much you love them and how you'll be back. Tears flow, but 90% of the time, as soon as you are out of sight, those tears dry up pretty quickly. So my guess is this is going to be the same case, but I just don't want you to worry any more than you normally would, because it's the same. They're gonna probably cry, but they're gonna be okay. But if they're sad, we will call you. We are not gonna let anybody stay sad for any length of time. We've all done this long enough to know how long is like a normal crying and how long becomes like a cry that we're not gonna be able to console. So I don't want you to worry. I know it's gonna probably feel weird. The good news for all of you is this is not a new place. You should think about the 10 new families who have still not set foot in our doors yet. So at least you've been in there and you know what it all looks like, and your kids have been in there and they're familiar with it. So I know it's going to be different, but that's the way it's going to happen. And the same for pickup. At pickup, starting at 12:45 Monday through Thursday, I will come to that exterior door. I will be outside the preschool, and I will be there we'll use walkie-talkies, and I will alert teachers when parents or the pickup person arrives, and your child will be brought down the hallway all the way outside to meet you. And I will be doing that at 12:45, or like I said, 11:45 if it's Friday. So we ask that you just, if you're going to get there late, or if you have to pick up early, or you have to pick up for a doctor's appointment or anything unusual that it's not going to be the normal drop-off and pickup time, that you call and let me know or let your teachers know so that we can do the normal procedure and make sure we get the child outside to you, so you're not trying to knock on doors and figure out who's going to come and that kind of thing. So if you can alert us ahead of time, that would be great. And the same thing with when we scan temperatures and take temperatures, that's going to be our check-in to know that your child is there. We have a roster with everybody's names. We'll record the temperature, and we'll have a spot where if you need to tell us somebody different's picking up that day, or if you're going to pick up at a weird time because somebody has an appointment, we'll make a note of that for you so that we'll know those things. But if something just comes up that you didn't expect and you need to come at a weird time, we just ask that you let us know that. So that's babies, toddlers, and twos. 3s and 4s, you may not have ever even noticed before, but the 3 and the 4-year-old classes, they each have 2 doors that lead directly, exterior doors that lead directly onto the toddler playground. So our 4-year-old children are going to enter and exit. They're going to be dropped off and picked up at that exterior door that is closest to the gate and the covered entrance. So it's marked, both 4s and 3s are decorating their windows right there, so it's obvious that that's now the entrance for the time being. But the same procedure is going to apply there. One of the 4-year-old teachers will be the person stationed at that door to take a temperature and ask those screening questions before the child will just step directly into their classroom. So all the same procedures apply. We'll have it marked. We need you to stay separated. and we need you to have on a mask while you're dropping off your child. So I think that was what I was going to say. Okay. And if you have a child, some of you, we have several families that are going to have somebody that goes on the small side of the hall and then either a 3 or a 4-year-old, you're going to have to go to the 2 different entrances, just because I know that's going to be a little bit more of a pain for you, because you're going to have to go to both spots, but we're not going to let an older child go in through the small entrance and vice versa. We're not going to scoot a baby or a toddler through the 3 or 4-year-old room if they have a sibling. You're going to have to go to the 2 separate entrances. And I was going to say, there was something, oh, in the 3s, I don't think I said this. I've said it in my head so many times. I don't know if I've actually said it out loud. So the 4s will use the door that's all the way closest to the covered entrance, but then the 3s, they have 2 doors, and the door that they're going to enter and leave from every day is the one that's on the far end of the toddler playground, closest to the big kid playground. And again, it'll be marked and it'll be obvious because there will be a teacher standing there. But that will be the door where the 3-year-olds will come and go each day. So that's going to be our drop off and pickup procedure. And while we're talking about drop off and pickup, you guys know our normal pickup time is 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday, 12 o'clock on Friday, because we don't do lunch. But we do the 1:05, 12:05 courtesy. If you're running a couple minutes late, that's fine, but we don't want folks consistently picking up late. So if you are picking up preschool past that 1:05 or 12:05 mark, then I make the teachers do this. They're not as mean as me. So I make them do this. They have to charge you $1 per minute beyond that 05 mark. So they will give you a late slip to say, and that's only because they're not really paid to be here past that 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock mark. So if they're staying and waiting on a child, they have places to go to. So and I know things happen and come up, but we just don't want folks consistently not picking up on time. So just be cognizant of that. I mean, I know this process is new, and so it's going to probably not be extremely smooth on day 1, but hopefully on day 2 and day 3, we will have this all perfected. So if you will be patient with us, we will be patient with you. But I think this is going to work well because we divide out the families pretty well so that we don't have too many people using any one entrance. So I don't really think it's got to be better than an elementary school drop-off line. I can assure you of that. So I think it's going to work okay. All right. So that's drop off and pick up. So now cleaning, I want to just assure you, we're going to be doing the same things that we've always done, plus extra cleaning things. So y'all know that at the end of the day, the preschool teachers, they clean their rooms, they spray down everything, disinfect everything. And then once the teachers are gone, our church staff, they mop, they mop the floors, vacuum, clean the bathrooms, and do all of that deeper clean daily. That happens every single day. But on top of that, we're going to have each room is going to be cleaned with a disinfectant fogger and a sanitizing sprayer after everybody has left the building. So because of this virus, we're doing some extra measures. So that is going to also be done daily. So and also I have a clean toy log. I know I talk about these same things over and over, but we keep a clean toy log in my office. And so normally we take everything out of circulation the moment it is in a mouth or something. It goes right into the dirty toy bin, and of course doesn't go back into circulation until it is washed in our kitchen. We run everything through the dishwasher. Anything that is strong enough to withstand the heat of the dishwasher, we run through the dishwasher. But we're going to do that more often. Our schedule used to be twice a month for the little ones, but we're going to do that every week. We're going to be running things to the dishwasher. So some of our toys might bite the dust a little sooner than usual, but we can replace them. We'd rather them be clean so that's not a big deal. But I just want you to know, if you ever have a question about when things were washed, you can just ask, because they mark it in the log every time things are washed. And also, we are not going to have dress-up clothes or stuffed animals in the rooms, just because they are such soft surfaces, and the guidelines are telling us not to have those things out in the preschool rooms right now. So for the time being, we're not going to have those items in the rooms, but we're going to be washing everything much more regularly. Although I feel like we wash stuff all the time anyway, we are going to do it even more than we've done it in the past. Food. You're going to send a lunch and a drink like you always have done, Monday through Thursday. And we will have people that pack lunch on Fridays, because it happens every year. But just remember, we don't do lunch on Fridays. But this year, we're going to ask that you make lunches a little more simple, at least, again, for the time being. We have always been willing to microwave things and put things in refrigerators and all of that, which is great, but we're trying to minimize the amount of time we're touching your food and having to be right up in your child's face getting lunches ready. So we are asking that lunches be simpler this year because we're not going to be able to microwave or keep things in refrigerators. The exception is the baby room. There's milk that will spoil, so obviously we need to keep those in a refrigerator. But for anybody beyond the baby room, I think if you just put an ice pack in your child's lunchbox, that will keep it adequately cool for the hours there at preschool. So we just ask that you keep that a little bit simpler for us. And I also like to remind you these people are thirsty, especially at the beginning of the year, even though it's later than we normally start, it's hot and they play outside a lot. And so they are thirsty. So water is obviously the best thing to send them, but and we will refill water cups. That's not a problem. But if your child does not want to drink water and you send one drink to school, they're going to drink that at snack, and then they're going to be mad at us because they don't have anything besides water to drink for lunch. So if they need 2 separate drinks, just make sure you remember that. If it's just a water cup, that's fine. We'll refill that all day long, but they are thirsty. So just remember that. And the same rule applies. We don't want anything that's a choking hazard. We're not gonna, if there are nuts or candy or popcorn or gum or anything like that in a lunchbox, that's gonna stay in the lunchbox. We don't want them to eat that here. Anything that's a choking hazard. Grapes, cherry tomatoes, hot dogs, those kinds of things that are around, we need you to cut those lengthwise. You need to cut those up and down before you send those to school. If you cut it in half, it's not great because it's still a circle and it can still get lodged in their throat. So we ask that you cut it long ways so that it's more of a sliver if they're going to eat something like that could be a choking hazard. And that just helps us if you cut all of that on the front end. All right, and so snack. Everybody, the babies are kind of always the exception. I say a lot of stuff and I think in my head, well, this doesn't apply to the babies. So the babies, don't think about this. But everybody else, we're going to do community snacks. So that's nothing different for those that have been in the toddler and the 2-year-old room. Same thing is going to happen. The teachers are just going to ask at the beginning of the month that you bring a salty thing or a sweet thing to share for the class, and they will give out community snack. It's just easier for that age, especially because nobody's fighting over what their friend has that looks more appetizing than what their mom sent. So we're going to do that. But the 3s and the 4s are going to do the same thing. It's going to be more simple than what we've done in the past. They're going to ask, though, instead of at the beginning of the month, they're going to have, they'll tell you a week that they need you to bring some things, and they'll tell you specifically what to bring, just some simple things that we can hand out and keep it easy for everybody. So your teachers will tell you more about that. Parties, we will still celebrate your children. We love your children. Birthdays are super important. We just can't have mom or dad or a grandma or whoever would like to come and be a part of that. We're not going to allow folks into the preschool for any reason. And so you're welcome to send a store-bought special snack for a birthday, and we will celebrate and we will take pictures and we will sing happy birthday and send you a video. But we're not going to have parents in for that at least this first semester. So, and we also ask, it happens every year, birthday party invitations. Birthday parties are fun, but it's very sad if not everybody's getting a party invitation. And I know they're little and you probably think they're not going to notice. Believe me, they notice that they didn't get something in their cubby that a friend got. So if you're not going to invite everybody to a birthday party, if you could just mail those out, that would be great. If everybody's invited to the party, we're happy to put those in cubbies, but we just don't want anybody to feel left out. And class parties, holiday parties, our Halloween parties, Christmas parties, that kind of stuff, we're still going to do those things. But again, instead of having moms and dads come in and help with those and do a craft or a special story or help with the snack, we're just going to ask that you send in the supplies for that, and you'll just drop that in the morning, and we will get the party organized and set up and use whatever you send for that. But the teachers will talk to you about the signups for the parties. And I have moms and dads that worry about this every year. We divide the parties out. So some parties will fall on Wednesdays and Fridays, and some will fall on Tuesday, Thursday, because we don't want our kids that don't come 5 days to feel like they miss every single party. So we have it even. I had the teachers double check me to make sure we've already planned all the party dates, and they fall, they alternate. And so you will get to an equal amount of parties, even if you're not a 5-day-a-week child. So we ask the same thing: no toys or personal belongings. I know the little ones, obviously the baby sometimes need a blanket or special blanket or something that comes with them. That's one thing. But when kids are bigger and they don't really have to come to school with something, we need you to keep toy cars or special stuffed animals or whatever it is that they're trying to take with them. We need you to keep that at home. We don't want it to get lost or broken, but this year especially, we just don't want things outside that aren't necessary. So I've told you in the past that I'm happy to be the bad guy and take something away once they walk in the door, but it really is going to help us if you can just try to get them to ride in the car with it if they love it, but just keep it in the car. So we're trying to keep everything out that we don't need for the preschool day. All right. Potty training. This is always a hot topic in the threes. So if your child is moving into a 3-year-old room, you have to be potty trained. It's really just a sanitation issue. We don't have changing tables over there anymore once you graduate to the big side of the hall. So there are no changing tables. Those children have to be potty trained. That means no pull-ups. We can't have the pull-up just in case. They have to be wearing underwear. And they have to be able to tell us they need to go to the bathroom. The teachers in the threes will, they go to the bathroom at regular times anyway, and they will remind them and ask them at different times, but the teacher can't be the one that has to say every 10 minutes, do you need to go to the bathroom? Do you need to go to the bathroom? If they can't tell us that they need to go to the bathroom, they're not really quite ready, not quite potty trained, and it's fine. I mean, it takes kids different times to do this, and normally we would have started preschool at the end of August, and we usually give the cutoff as October 1st, that you have to be potty trained by October 1st. Like, we will hold your child's spot if you pay tuition until then, but after that date, that spot is lost. But since we're starting late, and this has just been kind of a crazy extended summer, we've changed that. So you have until November 1st. If anybody is still struggling with potty training, you've got until November 1st to have your child fully potty trained for that class. And again, we're not trying to be mean. It's really just a sanitation thing. So if you have questions, you can reach out to us separately about that. We can talk about it, but we can't do pull-ups. They have to be in underwear, and they have to, be able to tell us. And we understand accidents happen. So, but an accident, it's not an accident if it's every single day. So occasional accidents are okay. We don't expect them to be perfect, but they need to be pretty well potty trained. So, and then, of course, if you've got a younger child that's still in diapers, then you provide diapers and wipes like always. Teachers will tell you all of that. They'll keep everything separate and labeled like we always have. The biting policy, that hasn't changed, but I like to still say it every year because biting causes tears. Like, sometimes tears, not just for the kids, but for the moms and the dads, because little people, as you well know, don't communicate as well as we do. So one way to send a message real fast is to bite somebody. It usually works. Whatever was happening usually stops real quickly when biting happens, but it's not good on either end. It's not good if you're the child that's been bitten, and it's not good if you're the biter. And of course, we watch as closely as we can, but there are 10 of them or 8 of them and 2 of us, and so we can't be everywhere at all times. And so biting doesn't happen a lot, but I just want to say that it will happen because it happens every year. If that happens, you're going to get a note that either says, a friend took a bite out of your child today, if your child was bitten, or it'll say the reverse of that, say, your child, he'll say, my child Larkin bit a friend today. My Larkin did bite a lot of friends in preschool. She doesn't bite now, so that's encouraging. But they do bite, and it happens, and we don't tell who does what. They will tell you because they always do, but please don't put the teachers in the position of asking who did it. Just causes more concern than there needs to be. But I just like to say that it is very normal behavior, but it does cause concern. It's very different to see that your child was pinched or hit or something and have like a bruise versus seeing teeth marks or something emotional about teeth marks. But it's normal. It will happen. We minimize it as much as we can, but don't be concerned, especially if you have a biter, because they will not bite forever. we will help you with it. So we ask for appropriate clothes and shoes. This is preschool. We play outside. They need to be comfortable running around. They're going to do a lot of crafts. They're going to get dirty. So you send them in whatever you want to send them in, but we just ask that you not be heartbroken if we get a marker or a paint or something. We wear smocks and we cover things as much as we can, but they're in preschool and we want them to have fun, and we want them to not feel like they're going to mess up what they're wearing and their mom's going to be mad if they get something on it. So just send them in play clothes. And shoes, we need comfortable shoes. We don't want flip-flops and Crocs because those are hard for the kids to run around outside and be comfortable in, and they trip really easily. Even though we don't have mulch anymore on that big playground, especially, we've got the hill and a lot of climbing things, and it's hard to do those things if they're not in tennis shoes. So we ask that you really try to send them in tennis shoes. I know it can be a fight. Everything can be a fight with a preschooler, but if you have to, send them in the shoes, the dress-up shoes that they have to wear, but put their comfortable shoes in their bag, and we will be the bad guy and change the shoes. But we want them here. We just want them in good shoes. But if you can't get them here in the good shoes, just send them and we'll change them. But that just helps us. The less we have to do on our end, it's just easier. So, and we ask, like always, for a seasonal change of clothes that fits. We need you to go ahead and put in the gallon Ziploc bag with your child's name on it, a change of clothes. Not because we're expecting your child to wet their pants, but things get, things spill, we get things dirty other ways. So we just want to keep a change of clothes here in your child's cubby. So if you can go ahead and send that on the first day of school, that would be great. And then when weather changes and kids obviously grow, we'll ask for updated changes of clothes, but we want you to just go ahead and send that and label it. And label everything. We keep everything, everybody has their own cubby, but things come out of the cubbies, and we have a lot of water cups and juice cups and lunch boxes, and things start to look the same. They usually know what belongs to them, but it's just easier if you make sure. We'd rather you over label than under label, so please label everything that comes in this store. Discipline wise, the discipline policy, hasn't changed. We do a lot of redirecting in preschool. Preschoolers get frustrated, they get mad, sometimes they act ways that they shouldn't, which is all normal, but we do a lot of redirecting. If we can't redirect a child, then we will do timeout, but they're not going to sit in timeout forever. They may tell you they sat in timeout all day, which probably means 2 minutes. So it's about a minute per year. So we're talking 3 minutes if you're 3 years old. We're not going to keep them in timeout indefinitely. Worst case scenario, they come to my office if they get in trouble. If they're just still not listening to their teachers, they will come to my office, which is entertaining because they basically sit there and wonder why I will not talk back to them. But then they stay in my office for a few minutes, we'll talk about what they did wrong. We walk back and apologize, and it's not a big deal. Even if they come to my office and you haven't heard about it, you don't need to be worried. I want you to hear me say this. Kids get in trouble. It's normal. They get in trouble at preschool. We take care of it. Like if we don't tell you about it, it's not because we forgot. It's because they got in trouble. They're 3. By the time we tell you about it and they get in trouble again, they're not even going to remember what they did wrong. Okay, so if it's a big deal, just trust us that we will tell you about it. It's going to be different this year because pickup is not going to be normal, like when we can chit chat with you and pull you aside. But if there's something that we need to let you know about, we will. If you don't hear about it and you hear about it from your child, you feel free to ask, but you don't need to, because if we didn't tell you about it, there's a reason. It was over, it wasn't that big of a deal, and they will embellish stories and act like it was a way bigger deal than it was. So just trust us to know that they're little, we'll take care of it, and if we need to talk to you, we will. So just don't worry. We have enough real worries in the world to worry about that. All right, so health and safety. All right, so once you do have your handbook, you'll see that this is beyond our health and safety page. It's kind of where we've added a bunch of stuff specific to COVID, but our general health and safety page of our handbook has not changed. We have the same rules that we've always had. If you have a fever over 100, you can't be at preschool. If you've been vomiting or you have diarrhea, then you can't be at preschool. You have to be symptom-free of these things for 24 hours without any kind of medicine before you're able to return to school. any symptoms of like regular childhood diseases like hand, foot, and mouth, or chicken pox, or whooping cough, all those things we have listed. Obviously, you can't be at preschool if you have any of those things. Unexplained rashes. We are not dermatologists here. I don't like unexplained rashes. So if you can explain it with a doctor's note, that's one thing. But unexplained rashes, we don't do. Any kind of contagious skin infection or eye infections. Pink eye obviously is very, very contagious. So we don't allow eye infections to be at preschool. And head lice. Hopefully we won't have any lice this year, but if we do, the policy is that you have to be knit-free and able to be back at preschool. So that's our general health and safety stuff. And now we have obviously in place a whole new set of rules about COVID. And I'm going to go through some of that. I sent this out several weeks ago by email, but we have changed it some since then to try to make it a little bit more concrete. So once you get a hard copy of it and you're able to read through it again, we're happy to answer more questions. But we are just trying to be very cautious and keep everybody healthy. So I'm going to go through some of the COVID things right now. And let's see. Let's look at this. All right. So like I said before, we're going to take your child's temperature when they arrive, but we're asking on the front end that you just go ahead and take your child's temperature before you leave home. I know with a lot of little people at home, that's the last thing you want to do is take temperatures before you actually leave. But if you find a fever before you get to school, you're going to save yourself a trip. So we're just encouraging you, if you can, go ahead and take your child's temperature. So, and you may know if they have a fever without even taking their temperature. So sometimes you can just tell anyway, but you're the first line of defense. We need you to not even try to come to school if you think your child has a fever, is just not feeling well. But once you are at school, if we have, and teachers too, like I'm going to take everybody's temperature too, teacher-wise. So all these things that I'm saying apply to your children, also apply to the teachers. We're going to be screened just the same as your children and take temperatures and all of that. So, but if we have any child or teacher that exhibits any COVID-like symptoms when they come to preschool, they're going to be considered to have a COVID-like illness, and they're not going to be permitted to stay at preschool. You need to be, if that's the case, the child or the teacher needs to be evaluated by a medical professional to determine the cause of the symptoms, whether it's COVID or another normal childhood illness like strep or flu. So the symptoms that we're worried about when you come to the door are the classic COVID symptoms. Fever and chills, shortness of breath, new loss of taste or smell, or a new cough. So all of those things, if you have those at the door, you're not going to be able to come into preschool. And just a general note I've put in here that, I mean, you have to be cognizant that children are going to sometimes exhibit milder symptoms like fatigue or sore throat or just extreme fussiness. And so we're going to trust you that even though these are not like necessarily COVID-like symptoms, we need you to be cautious as you consider whether or not your child really feels well enough to come to school, preschool, for a 4-hour morning. You know your children better than we do. So even if it's not a COVID type symptom that is definitely problematic, if you don't think they feel great, it's probably better just not to come. So, but we want you just to, if you keep them home for the day, just to observe, as long as they don't develop a fever, nothing else happens, then you're welcome to come back the next day. But we're just gonna ask you that in these circumstances, we need you all to be more cautious. I know you work, I know you have things to do, I know you have appointments, but we need all of you just to be super duper aware of everybody else and the health and safety of everybody. And if you're in doubt about whether you should send your child to preschool for the day, the answer is probably, please just stay home for the day and make sure nothing else develops. So if any symptoms develop, say the child comes into preschool, everything's fine, but during the day, if the child or a teacher develops any of the COVID type symptoms, then they're going to be isolated immediately. We're going to use the small room that used to be my office, for those of you that have been here for a number of years. But more recently, it has been the small room that we use for therapy. That's going to be our isolation room. So anybody that starts to not feel well during preschool is going to be taken to that room, and I will be with them, and we're going to have to be picked up immediately. We're going to ask on that authorized, I think I'm going to do a separate form. I'm actually thinking out loud right now. You have the authorized pickup form, but we're going to have a separate form for like 3 actual emergency contacts. So we don't want to have to try to call mom and dad and they're not available and it takes, 30 minutes to get a call back, which I understand because, you're often doing things, but you're going to need 3 emergency contacts beyond mom and dad that we could call that could actually come pick up. And we don't want you to put somebody on your emergency contact list that might be in the high risk category. You want to have people on that list that you feel okay with them picking up your child that is sick. So we're going to have that as a separate form this year. Another procedure with COVID is that no child or teacher is going to be allowed to attend preschool if he or she has been in close contact with someone with symptoms of COVID or someone who's tested positive for COVID. And close contact is defined by the CDC as less than 6 feet apart for more than 15 minutes. If that occurs, if you have been in close contact, then you're required to quarantine for 14 days from the last time you had contact with that person. And I know that may seem extreme, but that is what the CDC is recommending and requiring. So that's what we are requiring as well. And if a child tests positive for COVID, or if a child or a teacher ends up testing positive for COVID, to return to preschool, the following criteria have to be met. It has to have been 10 days since the symptoms first started. You have to have been fever-free without medicines for 24 hours, and all of your respiratory symptoms have to have resolved. So those are the criteria to return if anyone actually ends up testing positive for COVID. There's also a provision that if we do have any children or a teacher that tests positive and was in close contacts with folks while they were contagious, that we may have to shut a room down, or if siblings are involved, it could impact other rooms. This is not our call. We are obligated, we have to report any positive COVID cases to the health department, and they will tell us exactly what we need to do. They determine who is considered a close contact and who is not. And so we would just have to follow their guidance. I'm just putting this in our policies that these are possibilities. We are certainly not the authority on this. And so we will have to be told what has to happen. I hope nothing ever happens and we don't go down the path of any of these different scenarios, but we just have to know the plan if anything like this happens. And having said that, we're also, as part of the screening, we're gonna ask for the beginning if I'm gonna send an email to you just asking. I'm not sure if folks have been in childcare up until we're switching until our open date on Monday. I know some folks have been in childcare at other places waiting for us to open. But if you have been at a place where there has been a COVID issue and folks have quarantined, then you're not going to be able to come here until that quarantine period has ended. I'm aware of one program right now that has just closed for 2 weeks. And so if you're in that situation where you have been quarantined by another program, then you're not going to be able to start here until that quarantine period ends. So again, if you have any kind of possible exposure, or obviously any kind of positive result in your child or your family or anybody you've been around, you just please let us know that as soon as possible so that we can minimize the spread of this. And you can't see this right now, but I have done like this flow chart. And so I just read you from the handbook all of the different scenarios, but I think you don't want to read all that again. This flow chart covers everything I just said. It tells you what to do if you've been diagnosed, what you do if you've been in close contact with somebody, what you do if you've been quarantined, and what you do if you have any of the symptoms of COVID. It's very easy to follow, a yes, no, and if you had a test, if you didn't have to get a test, all the different scenarios. And I think once you look through this mirrors in a much more user-friendly way to look at exactly what's all typed out in the handbook. So once y'all have had a chance to really look through this, if you've got questions, please ask. But we're trying to make it as easy as possible, and we're just hoping that we don't have to even think about any of these things, but we just have to be prepared. All right. And then in general, not just the screening and what we do if something happens with exposure, just some general classroom things that are going to change because of COVID. We are going to keep each class we're going to treat each class as its own bubble. We're not going to combine children like we have often done. A lot of times the toddlers and the twos are together playing on the playground or just in each other's rooms, or same thing with 3s and 4s. They play together a lot and come together for different activities. We're going to treat each class as its own bubble for now, so that we can, those kids are just with those same kids and same teachers. We're not going to have anybody moving around. And kids are not wearing masks. Kids are not required to wear masks, but the teachers will all be wearing masks, and I will be wearing a mask. If they are 6 feet apart and with the older kids and they can teach from a distance, they can take the mask off if they're comfortable for a short amount of time. But I think our default is going to be just keep the mask on. You never know when a kid might decide they're going to run up to you, even though it's circle time and they're supposed to be sitting down. I think everybody is in agreement that we're going to be masked. So there are going to be pictures of us all masked and unmasked, so you don't forget what our faces look like. And teachers are going to be sending videos to your little people so they can go ahead and see us ahead of time what we look like with the mask on. So hopefully it won't seem as weird. And I guess since March, your children have probably seen lots of people with masks on, so it's not really that weird anymore. But we will all be masked. Also, we're not going to really travel anywhere outside of the classrooms beyond the playground. We're going to play outside. We're just going to play outside one class at a time. We've already worked out a playground schedule so that each class has its own designated time to be outside, and we will clean the playgrounds between groups, so you don't have to worry about that. We're not going to be doing like shared water tables and shared sensory bins. We're going to have some of the older kids are going to have kind of their own little the 4s at least are going to have their own sensory bins so they can still do that kind of thing. But we're also going to have, for the big kids, we already have individual boxes of supplies for them that are labeled, where they have their own crayons and markers and scissors and glue sticks and all of that stuff that we've never really thought about everybody sharing. We're not going to be sharing all of that this year, just to make sure we do everything on our end to minimize any risk. And then also, for just general hygiene and cleaning, we're going to wash our hands because we do that anyway. We wash hands. We're not going to, we also do a lot of hand sanitizer. We're going to do less hand sanitizer and more hand washing. We're going to, they're going to, at a minimum, they're going to wash their hands when they get there. They're going to wash their hands before and after snacks and lunch. They're going to wash their hands anytime they use the bathroom. And they're going to wash their hands just for fun. We're going to do a lot of hand washing. And again, I said, you know, we have the dirty toy bin, and we have changed our toy washing schedule, so we're going to be washing things on an even more regular basis than what we already have done. And we've already washed all the slip covers, and we're going to wash cushion covers and all that kind of stuff very routinely. And again, that's all going to be recorded. So if you've ever got a question on when things were washed, just ask. And we've also replaced all of the HVAC units now have HEPA filters. So those eliminate and filter out even more of the smallest particulates. So anything in the air that might get through would have gotten through in the past. We've got HEPA filters installed everywhere, so the air should be free of just about anything and everything. And also, teachers are going to wipe down throughout the day. We're going to wipe down handrails and doorknobs and the kinds of things that the kids touch all the time that we really haven't been that concerned about in the past. We're going to be diligent and constantly wiping things down just to keep things even cleaner. And I think that is all I wanted to say about all of the fun COVID world. But I wanted to say communication is just really going to be key this year, because it's going to be different not seeing you face to face. I mean, I will see a lot of you, but you're not going to see your child's teachers, especially the baby, toddler, and 2-year-old teachers. You're not going to see them as much. We're going to send home our weekly written correspondence so you kind of know what's happening in the classrooms like we've always done. And I send lots of emails. Y'all know I send lots of emails. So if you want to add another email to that list, I know on our registration form, there's really kind of only a spot for one email. So a lot of you, a lot of families, I just have you in there in my system as one email. But if you want a second email, just let me know. I can add anybody to that list. But teachers are also going to be texting a lot, sending you pictures. I know they do that anyway, but we're going to do even more of that, sending you pictures and just updates through the day so that you can kind of know what's going on, because we don't want you to feel disconnected. We want it to feel as much as like it's felt in the past. Also, it's in the handbook. I'm not going to, I archived the old Remind thread. So I've got a new code for you guys to text if you do the Remind app. I won't text you much. Your teachers will text you. I will not text you through that Remind app unless it's something like a weather emergency or something that everybody needs to know quickly. I usually try to communicate by email, but there's going to be a new, we'll start a new thread for that. So if you like to get texts, just make sure you subscribe to that once you get the information in hand. And I think I said this already, but everything that you would have gotten at parent night, I mean, all the things you would have gotten from me, the handbook, the tuition envelope, all the forms, plus all the things that you would have gotten had you walked down the hall to see the beautiful classrooms that are ready for your children. All the things from the teachers, I'm going to go ahead and scan and email those out to you. So you can see like the schedule, or if they're asking for any supplies or anything like that before Monday. I'm going to send all of that out tomorrow, but you'll get a hard copy of anything that you would have gotten tonight. You'll get a hard copy of that on your child's first day of school. I think I've said a lot of things. So I know it's a big group, but we can open it up for questions. If anybody has general questions right now that I can answer in our group, or if you've got a specific question for your child's classroom, teachers can answer. Or if you don't want to ask questions and you just want to wait till you have their contact information, you can reach out directly to teachers. That's fine too. But I wanted to give y'all a chance to ask questions. Usually when we do it in person, nobody asks questions because all you really want to do is walk to the classrooms. But since that's not an option, maybe you'll have questions. So just unmute yourself if you have a question. Don't do any of that virtual hand raising because I don't even know where I would see that. So unmute yourself if you have a question and just start talking. Or not. I've never.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Is that Sumner? You're welcome. We're ready. We're excited. We're sorry it's been slow, but we had to do it the right way, and just wanted to keep everybody healthy. So that's our goal. But we're glad to do it.
We feel very well taken care of. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. What I do want you to remember is that preschool really hasn't changed all that much. I mean, your kids are going to play, they're going to learn, they're going to be loved while they're here. But just for health and safety reasons, obviously, we have to change some of these procedural things. We've talked a lot about things that are different, but I want you to remember it's really not all that different. This is preschool. That's the bottom line. It's preschool, and all the good things that you already knew were happening here are still happening here. You just may not see it as closely as how you've seen it in the past. I'm just thankful you've all been here before this year so that you don't feel as much out of the loop. So I'm hoping everybody's transitions to their new classes is going to go smoothly. But we're going to have some hiccups along the way because a lot of this is new, and I think all need to be flexible. And if y'all have questions or you're frustrated about something, just talk to us. Talk to your teachers. Talk to me. It's way better just to get it out rather than talking among yourselves and getting worked up. Just talk to me. I listen really well. I may not have an answer right away, but I will listen to you and process it, and we'll figure it out together. But the worst thing I want you to do is be frustrated or irritated about something and just stew about it. Like, talk to somebody. It's better that way. I think we're going to be good though. I'm excited. I think we've thought through a lot of scenarios in our heads. I'm sure there are a lot of things, some things, I wouldn't say a lot. I'm sure there's some things we haven't thought about yet, but I feel like we have pretty much imagined about everything that might happen. So we hope none of that happens, what we've imagined. We hope only good stuff happens and it's a normal year. So no other takers on a question? I know 30 participants. This is the warning to the teachers. You will get lots of individual texts now, maybe. All right, well, we will plan to see you if you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or an all-weeker. We will see you Monday morning at 9 o'clock. If you're a Tuesday, Thursday kid, we will see you Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. We will hope for pretty weather since we will all be waiting outside, but we will get you all in smoothly and quickly, and we can't wait to see you. All right, thank you guys for being here tonight. We will see you soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.